In this podcast episode, Ben Shapiro discusses what he describes as one of the greatest press conferences in American history, delivered by former President Donald Trump. Shapiro contrasts Trump's articulate and coherent communication style with that of President Joe Biden, suggesting that Trump's performance was refreshing and engaging. The episode delves into various topics, including Trump's proposed renaming of the Gulf of Mexico, his views on Greenland, and the implications of Biden's foreign and domestic policies. Shapiro begins by highlighting Trump's announcement to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. He argues that since a significant portion of the coastline belongs to the United States, this change is justified and reflects a sense of American pride. Shapiro humorously supports the idea, suggesting that if Trump can rename the Gulf, he should also consider renaming the moon, emphasizing a broader theme of American exceptionalism. This playful banter sets the tone for the discussion, as Shapiro expresses his approval of Trump's boldness in asserting American identity. The conversation shifts to Trump's interest in Greenland, which he refers to as a strategic asset for the United States. Shapiro outlines the historical context of American claims to Greenland, noting its military significance and untapped resources. He argues that if the people of Greenland were to seek independence from Denmark, they would likely align with the United States. Shapiro presents Trump's perspective that acquiring Greenland would enhance national security, especially in light of increasing Chinese and Russian activity in the Arctic region. He emphasizes that Trump's approach to foreign policy is pragmatic and rooted in American interests. Shapiro also addresses Trump's concerns regarding the Panama Canal, which he believes is at risk of falling under Chinese control. He outlines the strategic importance of the canal for American trade and military operations, arguing that the U.S. should regain control to ensure its security. Shapiro criticizes the previous administration's decision to relinquish control of the canal, suggesting that it has led to vulnerabilities in American commerce. He praises Trump's willingness to confront these issues head-on, framing it as a necessary step for national security. The podcast further explores Trump's foreign policy, particularly his stance on the Middle East and the ongoing hostage situation involving Hamas. Shapiro highlights Trump's assertive rhetoric, stating that all hell will break out if hostages are not released. He contrasts this with Biden's perceived lack of moral clarity, arguing that Trump's approach is more decisive and effective. Shapiro believes that Trump's willingness to use strong language and threats is essential in dealing with hostile entities. Shapiro transitions to domestic policy, focusing on Trump's commitment to American energy independence. He criticizes Biden's attempts to phase out gas heaters in favor of electric alternatives, arguing that such policies are impractical and detrimental to American households. Shapiro emphasizes the importance of maintaining energy independence to reduce reliance on foreign sources and bolster the economy. He suggests that Trump's administration would prioritize American energy production, contrasting it with Biden's regulatory approach. As the discussion progresses, Shapiro critiques the Biden administration's handling of various issues, including the release of Guantanamo Bay detainees and negotiations with the Taliban. He expresses concern over the potential consequences of releasing terrorists and trading them for hostages, arguing that such actions could incentivize further hostage-taking. Shapiro highlights the inconsistency in Biden's foreign policy, particularly regarding the Taliban, whom he describes as brutal and oppressive. Shapiro also addresses the recent changes at Meta, formerly Facebook, regarding fact-checking policies. He applauds Mark Zuckerberg's decision to move away from politically biased fact-checking organizations, framing it as a victory for free speech. Shapiro argues that the previous fact-checking system was designed to suppress conservative voices and that the new approach will foster a more open dialogue. He criticizes the backlash from fact-checkers, suggesting that their anger stems from losing their influence and funding. Towards the end of the podcast, Shapiro discusses the implications of Trump's return to the political forefront for the Republican Party. He notes that Trump's approval ratings are rising, indicating a shift in public sentiment. Shapiro argues that the Republican Party is moving towards a more pragmatic approach under Trump's leadership, particularly regarding issues like immigration and spending. He acknowledges the challenges ahead, but expresses optimism about the party's direction.